Thursday, September 25th, and it's really good to have you back here. Welcome back to Damon Bruce Plus, brought to you by Ike Sandwiches at all times. And my man, Sam Betesh, is riding with us once again here on a Thursday. Always super to see you, Sammy. Thank you so much for stopping on by, brother. We are co-streaming on both of these channels, Thinking Out Loud, Siciliano and Sam, Damon Bruce Plus. Like and subscribe to both, please. And we'll tell you more about Ike's, our friends at the Dubliner, a little bit about Sleeper before it's all said and done today. But Sammy, good to see you, pal. How are you? It's been a week of stress with this Bosa injury up here in Northern California, man.
You know, I was so excited because the Mac Jones thing happened exactly as you and I said that it could. And we didn't want it to be 7 games of Mac Jones, but we wanted a couple of games, and we were confident about up to 4 games of Mac Jones, and we got 2. And based on the schedule, we knew that New Orleans was a great place to start it. And then the Arizona game, the way it unfolded, I just want to remind people, Arizona's been a thorn in the side. Let's not take that for a 1-point win. That's no big deal. Arizona, Kyler Murray has destroyed and ruined hopes for this 49ers team in the Kyle Shanahan era. Kyler Murray's been an issue.
Whoever needs to win that game is the team that usually loses that game.
Correct.
Regardless of the status of the other team, where they are in their competitive life cycle, there is something about Arizona that is always a wrench right into the machine.
And this was a game that gave every opportunity to say, okay, another close loss to Arizona, chalk it up, Brock Purdy or Mac Jones, and instead finding a way to win on a day when I got to admit, there were a lot of creative ways for teams to win. Obviously, the one I love had a very creative way, but there were many others. The Bucs were staring at a loss. The Eagles were staring at a loss. The Packers did stare at a loss and hold on to it. This was a day when what you thought was going to happen did not happen.
Yeah.
And yet at the end, Mac Jones put the Niners right back where they needed to be to get Eddie Pinheiro every bit of hero status. And that's all you needed to do is walk out with one more point than Arizona, and it happened. And I love that. And then, like, as you said, and then unfortunately,
Week 3 in the NFL was a little bit like Empire Strikes Back. That's not the ending you were expecting. You watched that whole movie, and then that's how it ends. Wow. Yeah, it really was. And now we've got a huge turnaround. And the news this morning, Sammy, is that Brock Purdy might be able to go on Sunday. Mac Jones, I still almost think should be the choice, even if Brock is that
revenge game.
There's a little revenge. There's a little revenge. I think there's also a little of rationing of precious resources, because remember, the very next game is a Thursday nighter. So with that short prep, I mean, how much do you really want to, if they are, I don't know if they're rushing him back, but how much do you want to have Brock Purdy come back to this game, play Sunday, and then have to turn around and play in 4 more days? Like, to me, that's a great way to aggravate a turf toe variant. But he's been out there, he's been working out. And look, the choice between the two should be no choice at all. If you can go back to your starter, you go back to your starter. But like you said, a little bit of a revenge game. Let me tell you, Mac Jones, I don't know if everyone understands. My friend Kendra Middleton, who joined me yesterday.
Nice.
She's from Jacksonville. And so she knows the inner workings of the Jags and just the city of Jacksonville. I didn't know Mac Jones is actually from Jacksonville.
How did I miss that story? Wait. How did we miss that story all of last season? Nobody watched more football than you and I. And in all of that, I lost that Mac Jones was like meant to be a Jaguar the whole time. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either. Like, to me, it was Mac Jones, New England. Now Mac Jones, damaged goods, kind of rebuilding his career.
And everyone was so upset about Trevor Lawrence. It was never about Mac Jones, right? It was such a what the hell is happening with Trevor Lawrence? It never really became Mac Jones time, but I'm sure that's somewhere in the notes for CBS and Fox, and I just don't remember that being a showcased item.
Yeah, look, so Kendra said, like she went to the poor public high school in Auburn. He went to the rich high school, and he goes to Alabama. So she's like, this guy's just been kind of a jackass his whole life, and he, in a friendly way.
Sure.
And he could have a little something for the Jaguars, to the point where, do you want to maybe ask Mac Jones to go do this? Look, he played really well. I'm going to say, you don't want to look the gift horse in the mouth for too long. I told you, leads the NFL with 7 interceptions, which is one of the weirder stats going on right now.
Dude,
But
the threshold is 4 games, in my
yeah,
opinion. Don't you think? Don't you think backup quarterback? You can get 4 games. That's when you hire a backup quarterback, you should be telling yourself, we can survive 4 games with this guy. We can go 3-1 with this guy. That's what you if you're confident in your backup, you can go 3-1 with a backup quarterback. That's what you want to be telling yourself. Beyond that, it becomes a lost season of discovery. And again, as I remind people, even in the magic of Nick Foles winning a Super Bowl for the Eagles, that was week 16 that Wentz got injured. You know, I mean, it was at the tail end of the season. This, of course, yes, the run in the playoffs, but it wasn't an entire season of it. Again, Cincinnati hasn't been able to handle 6 and 7 games from Browning and the backups when Burrow goes down. That's the issue. But if you can handle 3 or 4, this is in the stretch of acceptable for me. This is in the stretch of Mac Jones can still go out there. I really think, and we spoke last week about maybe Brock Purdy wanting to get back with the idea that he doesn't want to lose a job with a franchise that he knows he stole a job. So, of course, you've always got that, right? The girl that cheated on her boyfriend to be with you is not necessarily going to be your wife, right? There's a possibility that she now cheats on you, right? So
cheating's an option for her. It's how I got here.
So Trey Lance, Brock Purdy says, I know Trey Lance pretty well, and I don't want to be in that situation. I understand it, but this comes down to doctors. And this really comes down to toe is good enough or toe is great. Toe is good enough to be healthy through week 18, or toe is good enough because this next game is that important. I'm not saying that 3-0 affords you an opportunity to lose a game. You don't want to lose a game on a schedule that hands you opponents that are beatable. You want to beat them. That's how you win a division. But this is okay. At this point, the team is playing well enough. Will you tell yourself later, oh, Brock could have won the game if you end up losing to Jacksonville? Sure. There's a lot of remorse on those things. There's more remorse if Purdy comes back and gets hurt. There's more remorse if Purdy is now unable to go after the fact. That's
Purdy limping off the field. That's just nothing could be worse, right? Now you got 16 weeks of Mac Jones. How do you feel about that? No, thanks. I really don't think I want that. Again, I would err on the side of caution. For the 49ers, especially, like, since injury is your brand, err on the side of caution. The greatest rivalry this team has is not the Seahawks, it's not the Rams, it's injuries. And injuries are doing pretty well against the 49ers this year, even with their 3-0 record.
Well, it's the biggest story of this season. Wait, let's preface one thing, Damon.
Yeah.
Last season was a disaster regarding injuries. Disaster. Okay? It was the story of the season. Right now, and we don't have to rank this because it's a terrible thing to rank, but is Nick Bosa a worse loss than Christian McCaffrey? I mean, it's worth considering.
Just from hands on the football, the answer is no. But in overall team impact and what your side of the ball looks like when it comes out in the wash at the end of the year, maybe, Sam. So, look, I don't want to overwhelm the audience with a little negativity here, but I got to tell you, it's everyone is working through their 5 stages of Nick Bosa grief, right? Everyone's working through their 5 stages of Nick Bosa grief. We all started on game day with denial. No, he's down there, but he's not hurt that bad. You'll see. Even Kyle Shanahan's like, we don't think it's ACL. Even though he gave the thumbs down, he gave that thumbs down. That isn't good. But again, maybe thumbs down just for today. He doesn't give thumbs down for the year, which is, I guess, that's part of bargaining. You got to go through anger first. So Bosa's down, I'm in denial. Then you're just kind of angry about it. Then the bargaining is either maybe it's not that bad, or maybe they can get Trey Hendrickson, or maybe there's a deal to be struck here. And, that's the 3rd stage of grief. Then the 4th stage of grief is depression. And I feel like everybody's been a little bit depressed. And I got to tell you, the Nick Bosa depression hit me a little bit. And now we are here in the final stage of acceptance. And I'm sorry what my final stage of acceptance sounds like. But if nothing, Sam, I'm a slave to consistency. I think if you went back through my career, whether you liked what I said or didn't like what I said, at the very least, you'd be like, well, he was consistent with it. When the pendulum finally in the world swung to the WNBA, and a lot of people tried to get some content creation. Did Damon do that? No, he was consistent. He told you he didn't like women's hoops, and he ain't fucking kidding. Like, there's a consistency there that I hope you appreciate, dear America, in a world of inconsistency. So my consistency is simply this. If your team loses one of its 2 best players, you're not going to go as far as you were. You could still go far. You can still have a very good year. There's a lot of football left to be played. There's no reason to give up on anything. But I did have the Niners maybe in the Super Bowl, and now I don't. I just don't.
It feels very akin to the Lions last season.
Okay? Exactly, Sam. That's my point. I felt that way. Gee, I really like the Lions. I still like the Lions, but I can't love them anymore.
Hutchinson was also having an impact special Pro Bowl, all-pro type season when the injury hit. Bosa's got an all-pro career. I don't know that this season necessarily had bloomed enough to say that it was or wasn't going to be a spectacular Bosa-level season, but he was having an impact. I mean, Bosa did put a stamp on the games he was in. There was no doubt that Bosa was on the field for the games that he was there for to this point. So, yes, it hurts, and it feels like Hutchinson. You got less of Bosa. Hutchinson lasted longer last season. But to your point, Hutchinson in the end, now they had a lot of other injuries, the Lions, but we also can't say that the Niners don't have other injuries. And that's what happens. That's what catches up. And in the end, if you really dissect what happened in the Washington divisional round with the Lions, it comes down to they were not at peak performance, which you need against an opponent who knows that there's a trip to the NFC Championship on the line. And that's what this is going to come down to.
And Sam, every season is a war of attrition. So here's the thing. So let's say by hook or crook or miracle or prayer or candle lighting or human sacrifice, for whatever reason, the 49ers absorb the Nick Bosa injury. Congratulations. Now what happens when someone else gets hurt? Again, it's attrition. It's erosion. And I just think that, it's one thing to erode some bricks in the wall. It's another to erode the keystone holding up an awful lot of things here. And I think that that's what Nick Bosa is.
Can I give everyone a glass half full?
I'm not down on the Niners, but I am down on this going as far as I hoped it might be. I'm sorry, you were toasting. I was
toasting because I was going to give a glass half full. Okay, my glass right now is more full than empty,
and I want it full.
It is. So I'm going to give 3/4. Regarding the Lions, 2 stories from last season. David Montgomery out for the season, and guess what? He returned and played in their playoff game. Okay. Number 1. Number 2, Aiden Hutchinson lost for the season, and he was, according to every story during the divisional game, he was available for a Super Bowl that they had to watch instead of participate in. But apparently, he was on track to return. So I only want to say lost for season. When you're a team that has playoff aspirations, lost for season does normally mean you're not going to see this guy through 18 weeks. But it could mean that you may have him back for the most important games of the season, which would be wild card, divisional, championship, Super Bowl. So keep that in the. So so you're saying there's a chance. I can only say
no. No one's playing a postseason game in the same season that they tear an ACL. That's a very nice thing for Team Aiden Hutchinson to put out there, because there's no reason to not put that out there. Because if you can perform the miracle, congratulations. If you can't perform the miracle, well, you shouldn't be expecting miracles. It's just, it's a nugget of hope that costs nothing to send to the fan base. But
Brandon Graham also played in a Super Bowl that he was not supposed to be available for the Eagles. I mean, there are just these little stories that I only want to say that there is the sliver of a hope. But then again, I'm also giving you both sides. I said, hey, the Lions season ended because of those injuries, and they also had hope that those people returned for the important games that they ended up not even playing in.
We got a couple of early supers coming in here saying, Sam Bruno Mike is saying, hey, it's way too early to talk Super Bowl. Let's crawl at 3-0. Amen, brother. I hear you. But when I look at the Niners, there's always, the boots on the ground level, and then there's always bird's eye. And we're kind of always looking at both. And I still like the Niners boots on the ground level. It's now bird's eye that I worry about them when I really get up and look at the entirety of the year. MSQ says, are the Jaguars actually the favorites in the media to win? I saw more people, picking the Jaguars than I expected across some early returns here. But let's see what the Brock Purdy news looks like before the green flag drops on this race. And that might change how people really feel about who's going to win this game. But the Jaguars are coming in with more tread on their tires than they usually have. Trevor Lawrence this week got a little respite from the slings and arrows of criticism about him when it was brought up like, hey, nobody drops the football more than the Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver room. These guys drop everything.
Yes. Now, Brian Thomas Jr., Brian Thomas Jr. is an offensive rookie of the year finalist. However, he has absolutely followed that up in an incredibly forgettable way. This guy has been targeted more than anyone else on that team.
Mac Jones has thrown more touchdowns to Brian Thomas Jr. than Trevor Lawrence has.
That's terrifying. It should be for Jacksonville fans. I just want to say Jacksonville's off the hook this week only because their opponent deserves more slings than they do. Houston is the worst offense in this league. Houston has more questions because they were at the top of the mountain more recently than Jacksonville.
By the way, how's that feeling, everybody? Did you get a little bit too excited about CJ Stroud? Will you please apply the same criticisms that you put on Brock Purdy every second to CJ Stroud?
Please. I really want to see that.
You would have if CJ Stroud played for the 49ers by now, they would have shot him to the moon. You know what I mean? Like
he'd be the backup in for the Chargers. I mean, that's reality, right? I mean, that's the way it's treated in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So CJ Stroud would be backing up Justin Herbert. All right, Trey Lance. So the CJ Stroud thing is so bad that in that division, and not to mention, look, just think about the quarterback stories in that division. Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson, unbelievable story that's completely flipped on its head, right? Nobody can believe it. CJ Stroud is having a disaster of a start.
Enjoy that while you can.
Yes, you're right. Of course, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get. I know that we're gonna get to that, and it's probably this week. But we're gonna get to the 3-0 Colts. But again, so you got the Colts looking like they do. You got Jacksonville right now with what we're getting nothing out of our amazing second-year receiver that's supposed to be setting the world on fire in the next Justin Jefferson. Trevor Lawrence, we still don't know what we're getting out of him. Houston cannot win a game and cannot get out of their own way offensively. It is just absolutely brutal for Stroud and DeMeco Ryans. I don't know what their special teams is good, and that is about it. And I don't know what is going to go right there. And that division right now is not necessarily about Jackson. And then Tennessee again, and again, Cam Ward has shown flashes, right? But obviously they haven't gotten the win yet. And now we're going to see it head to head with Cam Ward and CJ Stroud in the same game. But my point is the spotlight's not on Jackson.
Have 2 head coaches in his rookie year, by the way.
Yes, it looks like it.
That's
it
always
looks
a
like
great way to start, by the way.
Well, what Callahan already gave up the play calling, right? Week 3 here. Yeah.
Nothing says I got this by what can I do less of by week 3 in an NFL season?
That's rough. So my only point was AFC South, Jacksonville's not, the spotlight's not on them. And this is an interesting spot. I love you, and I love Brock Purdy. There's nobody that has spoken more positively about Brock Purdy, but I just want him, again, I want him in that Rams game. I want him peak performance out of Brock Purdy in that Rams game. Yeah. And the Jacksonville game in many ways is expendable. And I'll say this again. I said it 2 years ago. When the Eagles came off the Super Bowl loss, they started the season 10-1. The 10th win was a game in Philly against Buffalo. And I'd said at the time, the next 2 games on their schedule were, and Niners fans will love this, the Debo game where he went off against the Eagles. That was the week after the Eagles beat the Bills in overtime.
You were probably saying, hey, lose to the Bills. It doesn't matter.
Lose to the Bills. Treat it like a bye week. They had the Niners and the Cowboys coming up next. And in a slotting of what you need to do in the NFC, a loss to an AFC opponent like the Bills, who no one's going to fault you for. They had afforded themselves the opportunity because they had beaten the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. No one thought you're going to beat the Chiefs and the Bills when the schedule comes out, right? You beat the Chiefs. The Bills game is irrelevant, and you have the Niners and the Cowboys next on your schedule. Take the week off.
Dude,
let the Bills smash you.
The NFL schedule is a little bit like Animal Farm. All games are created equal. It's just some games are more equal than others.
And again, you're talking about, if you beat the Niners, I mean, when you're talking about NFC slotting, when everyone's gunning for the 1 seed, you need a leg up on the Niners, and you need to win the division through the Cowboys. Those games matter more. Your win against Buffalo is legitimately half a game less important than the other 2 you have coming up. They should, and they put a lot into that game. They beat Josh Allen in overtime, and their season crumbled from that point. And I said, I want to be on the record with this. I said it before that game. This should be a bye week for Nick Sirianni. Take it off.
Mark's Maine coming in with a super saying, going to rename the fandom to 49ers Fretful based on how many people are already throwing the towel in on the season. Is a little faith too much to ask? all I can tell you is you got to pick and choose your moments where you decide to show everybody how nervous of a football fan you are. Middle of the third quarter of an Arizona game is not that time. There are times to panic. The Nick Bosa injury results are one of those times. If you want to pull the fire alarm, you go ahead and pull the fire alarm. It is a big deal. But that incompletion in the middle of the second quarter where you declared Kyle Shanahan incapable of calling plays and Brock Purdy incapable of winning football games, like that's the wrong time to piss your pants. This is kind of piss your pants time in the overall arc of the, how about this? If you thought you had problems, now you know what a real problem is, don't you? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Jawan Jennings versus Nick Bosa is not even a conversation.
Seriously.
I mean, to think about the idea that we were that excited about Jennings. And again, I thought Jennings was going to be an exciting fantasy player this year. I'm disappointed for that. I just thought he was going to get that chance to be the guy. Right.
Out there in reps, you know.
Right.
I mean,
but the Nick Bosa thing is level setting. That's a defensive meeting that becomes, all right, what do we now do with everybody else? That's a domino injury.
PWS says, hey, it's not an excuse. However, Stroud lost his left tackle and big. You're right. You're right about both. And the league has more film on them now than they did a year ago. They know how to play against them. And, you know, adjustments are made. These coaches are really good at what they do. They make you play left-handed. They push you into your weaknesses and keep you away from your strengths. Now who are you? See, that's kind of the impressive thing about Brock Purdy and what he's been able to do.
Yep.
Because they got the book on him, yet he still goes out there and he plays pretty damn well, even as opposing coaches are making him play left-handed, as his own team's injury history is making him play left-handed. He's still having success more often than he's having failure. And that's why, again, would it be great to rest Brock? Yeah, it would be great to rest Brock. That's a luxury. We'll see if it's one they can afford or not. Mac Jones and Brock will probably, by the end of practice today, have a pretty clear-cut direction that this team is going in against Jacksonville. By the way, this is Joe Sullivan just saying, hey, no game in the NFL is expendable, Sammy.
Wrong.
Yeah, that's the thing. In a world of when to throw jabs or uppercuts, sometimes you got to throw your uppercut. No, other times you just jab. And, you know, you don't want to give up on a game. The intention isn't lose a game, but if keeping a little in the playbook and off the table today makes you better tomorrow, when tomorrow means more important because it's division or it's conference, I do think it matters.
And let me say this much. The Eagles, after that Bills game that season, they got smashed by the Niners and the Cowboys. And I want to say this much. Between those two games, even if they had lost to the Niners and not the Cowboys, if they had beaten the Cowboys, they would have won the division and hosted the Bucs in that wild card round instead of been in Tampa, which could have made a difference. Who knows? But those are the things that matter. In other words, the Bills game gained them nothing, and a Jacksonville AFC win when the schedule is done and has the W's and the L's on it at the end of this season. You ask me if you'd rather swap one out for another. If you have any losses to the Rams this season, you would take a win against another team for the Rams win. It is worth more. Let me preface. A Rams win is worth more. It is. It is.
Here, look at it this way. If the deal is, I will sell you a win against the Jaguars today, but you don't know what's going to happen with the Rams, or I sell you a loss to the Jaguars to guarantee a win over the Rams.
It's a deal.
It's the easiest decision I'll make all day.
Jed York makes that deal. Kyle Shanahan makes that deal.
At the speed of light, a win over the Rams is worth 5 times as many wins over the Jacksonville Jaguars as you can put up.
It's a conference and a division win where conference and division record is your tiebreaker. AFC tiebreaker does not come up at any point. Even if you played the Jags in the Super Bowl, guess what? Remember, that's at a neutral site, everybody. It is irrelevant what you have over Jacksonville.
Levi Stadium.
Yes, and that, you've already got your home. You got your home Super Bowl locked up. You already locked up home field advantage for the Super Bowl. Congratulations. No other team can say that.
Rob B says, the faithful have absolute highest of standards. They will find complaints in perfection. There is some of that too.
There's a lot of it. There's a lot of it. I just want to tell you something. I've consumed a lot of the Eagles content over the last few days. I do have a wry smile on my face for all of the 3-0 vomit that you hear. For every one of these teams, they've all got warts. Everyone could have won prettier. But when you're 3-0, there isn't anything better to be at that time.
And it is, if you want to talk about, it's not just whether you're winning or losing, it's how you're playing. Well, first of all, that's sports baseball, okay? Because there's enough baseball games to where it is how you're playing, not just whether you're losing. There's a whole bunch of mulligans on your schedule. In football, if you're playing great the entire month of December, but you drop a game, like that's cool. It doesn't matter really how you're playing in September. Nobody says you're setting your playoff tone in the month of September. So give a little leeway for some loosey-goosey football early on. It's almost baked into every NFL season now with the way that the preseason is.
By the way, it's also a competitive league where we have said, and I want to remind everyone, Andrew Siciliano's favorite statistic over the last 30 seasons, 4 teams that didn't make the playoffs the year before make it in the following season. That's wild.
Here's all you need to know about the NFL. The Packers are really good. The Browns suck. Didn't matter last week, did it?
At all.
Not only do the Browns suck, the Browns sucked in the game.
It was 10-0.
Packers they are sucking today, and they win today over a team that wasn't sucking today, and then takes the last 8 minutes of a football game off, and you lose. I mean, so it is insane. This is an insane league for sure. We got PWS again saying if Brock Purdy was a first rounder in 6'3", is the narrative different? Oh, you bet your ass. If Brock Purdy is a first rounder, he is there's accolades. He's already a guy who's been to a Super Bowl. He's Joe fucking Burrow. He's 6'3". The big difference, and again, you're giving him 2 things. I'm going to just go with the first rounder. Forget about the size, because Kyler Murray is in this conversation without the size. The difference is the conversation about the contract never happens, because when he's drafted in the first round, you know that you're paying him $50 million in 4 years. So that in other words, there's no surprise about that. And that's what changes it most importantly. And it's impossible for fans to disassociate the money with the player, of course. And I only want to preface that Tua is making $50 million. I just want every Niners fan to sleep well at night. Just go ahead and record Dolphins games this season and watch them right after you watch a Niners game. Look at it this way. You got 2 terrible Monday night football games on your schedule this week, and the Dolphins will be one of them. Fuji Simeon, by the way. Yeah, little local San Francisco.
Oh, wait, get out of here. Yeah. No.
Joey Betts, the owner of the House of Prime Rib, the older white-haired gentleman who would stop by your table, wink and smile. All I can tell you is that Joe picked up several meals for me in there because he, like so many restaurant workers and people, would get into their cars after their shift and they closed down, and he would listen to Sports Phone on the way home every night.
Awesome.
Joe liked me an awful lot. He was a big KNBR guy, and Joe Betts is an icon. And the House of Prime Rib is an iconic restaurant in San Francisco that lost a little bit of soul for sure with the passing of Joe. They don't make old dudes like that no more.
Nope.
He was great. Anyways, thank you very much, Fuji. Thanks to everyone. Supporting the channel with the super means an awful lot. So thank you whenever you do that. Really do appreciate it. We always appreciate you supporting the channel, and you can do that in many different ways by just hitting like and subscribe to either of our channels. Does an awful lot to help along the way. Let me get rid of that. Let me drop that for this beautiful bald-headed Punum. Look at that guy. Look at Ike's. He's got an awesome sandwich waiting for you at one of his restaurants. Now, whatever your taste in a sandwich might be, believe me, he's got it accommodated. And then if you wanted mozzarella sticks on that, he can do that too. Get yourself to Ike's. You're going to be very happy that you did. If you don't live near an Ike's, hopefully that changes soon, some way, somehow. But thanks so much to Ike's for supporting the channel. Since the day we launched, And you can support yourself getting free sandwiches, free drinks, free chips, signing up for the Love Rewards program. Get it done. The Dubliner and West Portal is going to be hosting Plus Mania. What are we, 6, 7, whatever we are, on October 4th, starting at 4:20. We hope to see you there. If you're in San Francisco, if you're in the Bay Area, show up at the Dubliner. Say hi to Kenny and John. Walk into the Dubliner at any time, but hopefully you can be there. What is it? Next Saturday? No, 2 Saturdays.
No. It's not this coming Saturday. It's the following.
The following Saturday.
Yep.
To next Saturday. Okay. So hopefully you can be there 4:20. Smiley Dan says that safety will definitely be a priority, and he'll be bringing life vests. So that's fantastic. We will see you all there. And of course, we want to thank our newest sponsor, Sleeper.
So
and
cool.
Sam, I have had an awful lot of fun over on Sleeper. I had a winner in week 2. Winner. Well, no. I'm 1 for 2. My parlays, I went a little nuts on my last week. I set myself up for big odds and 1,000 times nearly payout with some of the choices that I made.
Wow.
But get a $100 deposit match up to $100 and use promo code Damon on the link in the description in this video to check out our good friends at Sleeper. It is America's fastest growing fantasy site. Check out the props, check out the player props, check out the live betting, check out the user interface. It is fantastic. Thanks again to Sleeper for being a fabulous sponsor here. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to my good friend Sammy for coming on by every Thursday. I love doing these shows with him. We got some good Sammy news that we'll share.
What a tease.
Little tease.
What a tease. And by the way, I want to apologize to everyone who's using Sleeper for one thing. I want to apologize for Jordan Davis and the Eagles for ruining your Rams bet. That Rams bet at plus 3.5 was so clean, absolutely clean all day. It was even clean technically with zeros on the clock.
No doubt.
With Jordan Davis running towards the end zone, if you could just tell him go down, go down, go down. Go, I mean, game is over. Go down, go down, go down, go down. He runs into the end zone. I mean, Rams are lining up for a game-winning field goal plus 3.5. There is no outcome in which they lose that bet. There isn't, and it happens.
In the world of, should I take a knee here or put it in the end zone?
Oh, Jordan Davis goes in the end zone.
My official advice to all players, Coach Damon Bruce, officially gives you permission to house that shit.
I love that.
Put it in the end zone, baby, at all times. Gamblers, that's why it's not called investing. That's why it's called gambling. You never know. By the way, John Lynch this morning on KNBR, Sammy, to put us back on track here. ACL surgery for Nick Bosa happens tomorrow. Friday, he will be under the knife. John Lynch shared that on KNBR this morning. He also said that Brandon Ayuk is not close to return. There's some buzz that, hey, he might be back ready for week 1. We heard that in the offseason. And I said, somebody's high. Somebody's on crack. This is insane. You don't tear your ACL that late in the year, week 10, and then say, we'll see you soon. No.
Yeah.
You will see Brandon Ayuk just when I told you would. It probably somewhere around Thanksgiving. Brandon Ayuk, Thanksgiving, late October, mid-November, probably late November is when you're going to see Brandon Ayuk. Don't expect to see him any earlier than that. But we could see George Kittle. We were told that he is tracking very well. He is scheduled to come off IR for that Bucks game against Tampa, and he could be out there for that. But again, don't rush George back. No rushing anybody who's important back. It really sucks that what happened to Nick Bosa happened to Nick Bosa. From a 49ers team where they're trying to go standpoint, again, I've already shared my anxieties. I don't think any team can lose one of its best players and still win it all. I had a guy who is a commentator in the chat, and maybe this was part of his 5 stages of grief. This was his bargaining, Sam. He's like, hey, don't forget, 2011 Packers, Woodson and Donald Driver, both hurt. They won it all. Eagles, without Wentz. Wentz was having the best year of his career. They go to the Super Bowl. They still win it all. Okay, those are outliers.
They are.
Standard operating procedure. If you keep on looking for more huge player got hurt and the team won it all stories, you run out of those really fast.
Yeah,
There
winning
are
it all.
not a lot of
Making a run is even possible, but winning it all does require those last two games. It's why college basketball is so exciting and so fun. You will get a team into the Final Four that shocks you, but winning those next two games is the difference. And that often does not happen. You'll see VCU bow out at that stage, right? I mean, that's just what generally happens.
And it was just a week ago, where Shanahan says, let me tell you, an advantage we got is we got two closers defensively. We got Bosa and we got Huff. Now you got Huff.
And you got to and look, Warner. This is going to mean a lot for Fred Warner. And one other name I just want to throw out. Yeah,
if you want to win Defensive Player of the Year, you got all sorts of opportunities to go and prove that you deserve that.
Another guy who's interesting, I just want to throw it out there, and this happened live. I was actually talking to Larry on Monday, and this hit the news. And of course, as an Eagles fan, this was one that kind of perked me up, and I want to know what you think on it before we move on and really address Bosa specifically. But C.J. Gardner-Johnson is a guy who certainly has made an impact in this league.
How about that?
And the fact that he still doesn't have a job is kind of wild to me, but it also speaks to what kind of a guy he is. He reminds me of Marcus Peters with the Chiefs. Remember Marcus Peters? I mean, if Andy Reid sends you away, that means something. That really means that attitude-wise, something's going on there.
If Marshawn Lynch is being like, hey, cuz, cool off, you need to calm it down just a little.
And that's what this looks like. I will also say that Marcus Peters made a hell of an impact with the Rams and the Ravens. So, there is an opportunity to now be something special somewhere else. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, I see Ehrenberg saying he's a dickhead. Yeah, he's exactly the kind of dickhead you want on your team, not facing, right? He's the kind of dickhead that generally you want on a Sunday on your side and not the other side. And from a team that is now going to get less pressure on the quarterback, having a dog in the secondary could be the difference. It really, it helps make up some of that loss. And I just wonder, he's a guy who's now available at, you would imagine, a discount because he's been spit out by a team that just traded for him. This is interesting. And someone in that Niners organization can get on the phone with DeMeco Ryans and ask what the hell actually happened.
Right. And let me tell you, I don't think it's going to happen today. You're one injury away to Jair Brown from making that phone call. I don't care whose mama he slapped. You know what I mean? It doesn't really matter. By the way, Joe Sullivan is saying, cannot wait for Plus Mania. Big jar incoming. Nice. Joe Sullivan has aggressively filled the ganja jar.
That is great.
Not with super chat, Sam, with ganja.
Sullivan, congratulations. My brother Aaron Betesh. We'll get my brother to sponsor this at some point because he works for an incredible dispensary. Not dispensary. They were a huge grow unit. Maven, who makes incredible product. He is the head. My brother is like the chemist that puts this together for them. He's the gardener in the end. He's like the special gardener for all this.
So he's making sure that the buds got the frosted flake crystals on them.
The crystals that my brother produces. And look, we may have helped my brother on his journey to becoming this much of an expert when it comes to marijuana. But I'm just telling you, my brother Aaron Betesh is a wizard when it comes to marijuana. And yes, so he will fill your ganja jar at some point, and maybe we'll get Maven on board.
Does he still have the hair?
He no longer has the dreads. We have the dreads at my mom's house in my brother's old bedroom. The full headdress of my brother's dreadlocks are still in there. So So they are here. They are not on his head.
He did. He was able to rock the Jew dreads.
Oh, unbelievable. My brother was tan white Bob Marley for sure. I mean, it was a real thing.
I've worked with Maven for years. Cheers.
Love it. Sullivan. Love it, Joe. Yeah, Maven.
Smiley Dan all over. He's like, this is A+ content. Now you tell us, Tammy, this is our Smiley Dan making sure we're all going to be very, very safe. There you go, Chef A. I just smoked some.
Nice.
The glove.
Yes, Maven is known well in the industry among the elite smokers in the world.
By the way, I love all NBA strands. I don't want to hear any more about like cookies or purple. All NBA strands should be named after NBA point guards.
I love that. That is a fantastic. What a naming convention.
Yo, man, pass that Spud Webb over here, would you please? Those are just a little dog walkers.
Right, exactly. That's fine. Yeah, exactly. Just a little bullet. That's fantastic. Amazing. Well, Boza, I want to say one thing, Damon. So throughout the week, we send each other ridiculous stuff all the time, but you know that my ties at CBS Sports go pretty deep, and the research department at CBS Sports was unheralded. My boss at the time, Kieran Portley, he hired a guy named Justin Page, who then just revolutionized what we did, because what we were doing from a research standpoint wasn't just tied to your traditional research. Justin understood gambling and he understood historical context, and he made it. He used to make sure we got notes into the highlights that you wouldn't hear anywhere else. And he hired a guy named Doug Clausen. And Doug was this outside of the box thinker, but from a research standpoint. In other words, anytime Doug had an idea, it was because he saw a number somewhere and thought, oh, what's the historical piece on this? And then he started writing columns at CBS Sports, Doug Clausen. And he put together a piece that caught my eye and I sent to you immediately. And it was Nick Bosa, because of this injury and others, is not going to be a Hall of Famer. And at first I just thought, like, isn't that wild? Like, isn't that just outrageous? I mean, isn't Bosa the kind of guy that you say? I mean, like, he's the guy on a broadcast that you hear future Hall of Famer Nick Bosa. It's kind of like one of the things that generally will come off of somebody's tongue when looking at Nick Bosa.
Here's the thing. I don't think that he is. I think it's future Hall of Famer George Kittle.
Okay, sure.
I don't think it's been future Hall of Famer Nick Bosa, but he's on track.
Yes.
The start of his career is as impressive as the start of any Hall of Fame defensive end career that we've ever seen. But he is now going to be missing critical games in the prime of his career. And that's a hard thing to overcome. That's a hard thing to overcome. In your most game-reckonist window of your career, you ain't even playing games to wreck them. And that does hurt a guy's chances tremendously. I mean, anyone is, looking at long odds to reach the Hall of Fame. He could still get there, Sam, but his odds got longer. And what I tell you what is now going to be a requirement, because I don't know. How about this? I want you to think of Nick Bosa in the terms of Terrell Davis. Okay. Terrell Davis was a streak and a spark across the night sky.
Halley's Comet, yeah.
Who, again, like he didn't play very long, but when he did, he was Gale Sayers. He was unbelievable, right? So he won the Super Bowls, and even though his resume was light, those Super Bowls put him in. Nick Bosa, if he really wants to guarantee his punch ticket to the Hall of Fame one day, he's gonna need a Lombardi trophy to fill the hole in his resume he's already missed, what do we got here? 32 games in his first 7 seasons. Bosa's already missed those with injury, and he's about to miss the next 14 games of his career. So that's 32 games in his first 7 seasons. No, excuse me, that includes this 14 game.
Yeah, it does.
Right here. But that's a lot. That's a lot of games.
He's also had an impact in those games, to your Terrell Davis point. Terrell Davis is also Super Bowl MVP, so that was, that's the ultimate flag anyone can have in their cap. I want you to just share quickly, and we can run through some of the numbers that Doug Clausen put together. And a lot of this is predicated on your first 7 seasons. A lot of this is, when you look at a Hall of Fame career, he was comparing a lot of Hall of Famers to what they did in their first 7 seasons, which is where you get a lot and a majority of your impact. And you can see here where Bosa lines up amongst other players, the top players in the world at getting sacks. And let's also remember that sacks is almost going the way of batting average in baseball.
Right.
Because
new on base percentage.
Correct. Because a sack ultimately has this final component to it where the quarterback is on the ground. And now with the way quarterbacks escape, it's just more and more difficult to bring a guy to the ground. Don't tell that to the Lions D-line who did that to Lamar Jackson on Monday night. But in other words, if you're getting a guy like Lamar Jackson to throw it out of bounds or run it out of bounds at the line of scrimmage or only after 1 yard gain, that's just as important of a play. That's negating what could have otherwise been a successful play for them. And so now sacks is it's just less of a barometer. But still, when you look at sacks per game, Bosa's on an impressive list. But as you scroll, you can go to the next one here, Damon. You start comparing Bosa now to other Hall of Famers. And look at this. This is a great list here. Doug Clausen put this together where you've got a Hall of Famer on the left, and then you've got a guy who was close but not in the Hall of Fame on the right. These are numbers that Nick Bosa's got. Nick Bosa's more in the right column than he is in the left. Right. But with 2 more dominant seasons, he would have the resume that's on the left. He would be up there with DeMarcus Ware. And look at Jared Allen. He's almost at where Jared Allen is, frankly. And we just saw Jared Allen get in. So it's a fine line I'd like to think in my mind Bosa is, but I guess that's because you just tell yourself that it's going to happen again and again. You kind of take for granted. The only position I don't take for granted is running back. The only guy that I say, okay, he could be here today and gone tomorrow is running back. I generally don't feel that way about defensive linemen, edge rushers, linebackers. I generally feel like these guys are going to be around for a few years, but Nick Bosa proves it can be gone in a second.
And look, Nick Bosa tore his ACL 1 year, came back the following season, won Defensive Player of the Year. How many times do you think that bolt of lightning can strike? This is why I get a little bit down when I start really thinking about this, not through the rosy-eyed lenses of what I best case scenario think could happen, but just in the reality of what usually happens in these situations. What usually happens is a player who is on a Hall of Fame trajectory is bounced off of that trajectory. And there's a lot of supporting data in this column that says that could happen here.
It's amazing. And go through, it goes and shows you.
But also, too, it's not just what you did, it's what can you then do now. Bosa is going to be a 3-time ACL repair guy. So, that is the walking, talking, living definition of damaged goods.
Yes.
Plus, he's got a history of oblique problems. He's got hip problems. He had neck issues this offseason. This guy gets hurt in off seasons when he's not playing football.
It's really sad and unfortunate, and you don't want to pass blame around, right?
Yeah.
This happens.
The one shot that he's got, and this is significant. This is the force multiplier, which could put Bosa, in spite of all the missed games, back on the Hall of Fame path. Sammy, in your entire life, you've never seen a more rocked up fucking dude than this guy. I'm telling you right. I know you've been in a lot of locker rooms.
No.
You're not in there chicken hawking or pecker checking anybody. Like you ain't walking around going like, ooh, who's a man in here? But Nick Bosa in underpants is the incredible freaking Hulk. You have never in your life seen a body or a frame that says this guy takes the offseason seriously. Nick Bosa's body might as well the motto of his body, the id of his body might as well be no cheat days. I don't think this guy eats a French fry in the off season. His skin is painted on. He's almost too rocked up. Maybe that's the problem. He's overtrained. But
remember the guy that I would compare it to.
As much talent and work ethic, and it still can't keep him healthy.
It's a shame. And remember Romanowski used to walk around with that bag of supplements. And, Romanowski was one of those guys who took it way too serious also.
Yeah,
and frankly, look, Niner fans know Romanowski very well. And he did make a difference. And he found a way to make that difference more times than not. Romanowski found a way to be on the field. Now, we don't know how enhanced that may have been. But Romanowski found a way to be on the field. And Bosa at this point, yes.
But Bosa, Bruno Mike, he's like, yo, man, can I get an eighth of that, Allen?
Yes, get me some of the AI, please. Get me some of that AI. By the way, again, I want to give credit to the Bills for their incredible schedule release where they used Allen Iverson. I'm still upset that the Eagles didn't think of it, but it was the Bills that decided to do their release with, quote, AI, and they did it with Allen Iverson, not artificial intelligence. It was brilliant. What a move that was.
A lot of people don't know this, but the Philadelphia 76ers are more Buffalo's basketball team than the Knicks or the Celtics or the Nets have ever been. So
that's great.
It's
just absolutely
when you're that far into Western New York, you almost consider yourself Dutch Amish Pennsylvanian at that point. It's really weird. Enjoy your butter, everyone. It was churned this morning. Okay, so Sammy, here's a little thought exercise everybody starts doing around the water cooler this time of year. There's a 3-0 team out there right now.
Oh, this is great.
Who's probably going to blow it. And there's also a really bad, maybe even an 0-3 team out there right now that could reach the postseason when it's all said and done. Let's start with a 3-0, but built to blow it. Sadly, if you put it out to the nation right now and said, all right, look at the circumstances of every 3-0 team. And what just happened last week, Nick Bosa, is there a team? The 49ers might be a candidate for this conversation, given what's happened. But to me, they're not the candidate. I'm going to tell you right now that the sun will rise on the Indianapolis Colts and they will see who they are, and it never goes well at that point in time. There is a 5 or 6 game losing streak that usually happens around Thanksgiving when football gets real. It feels like at some point in time, Daniel Jones's carriage will turn back into a pumpkin. I think the 3-0 Indianapolis Colts, who have been a lot of fun and a great story and have looked good, are the number one candidate to fall back down to earth when gravity takes effect here at some point. It's got to be them.
I'd love to disagree. I can't imagine if you put odds out right now on it that they wouldn't lead because the public money is going to go there. When you simply look at a name value standpoint at teams that are 3-0, it's important to look at who is at the quarterback position, of course, and consider the opponents. Denver would be the strongest team that Indianapolis has beaten to this point. Denver is 1-2. They are a playoff team from last year, and Denver absolutely in every single way could have won a game. Now, the difference between could have and would have and should have and did is very different in this league, but the Broncos lined up and affected a field goal that essentially was a win, that then a rule that nobody likes about leveraging over a line to block or affect a kick is illegal. Okay, fine. Indy won the game. Indy was certainly in that game. Indy played well. Daniel Jones played very well. They won that game to 3-0. But when you look at the opponents, Indy has that. The only thing that Indy has going for it, if we're talking making playoffs, what Indy has going for it that the Niners don't is the division. The division right now is in shambles. The division, it's not, Indy being on top of the division makes sense based on what I've seen through 3 weeks. So if I have to compare it to Jacksonville, Houston, and Tennessee, I'm not that worried about Indianapolis. Indianapolis has put themselves in position. They've also been close to the playoffs with Anthony Richardson, who was trying his hardest to beat Jamarcus Russell. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities that steady quarterback play makes the difference for Shane Steichen and this team to make the playoffs. But I'm not going to flat out disagree with you that Indy is that team. The Niners, it is worrisome because of the Bosa thing, but the schedule is going to help. And there will be more than one team from the NFC West that makes the playoffs. I feel fairly confident in that. And so winning the division or not, I still feel great about that. I also think, and I'll get to this later, that the shine off the Buccaneers, when you look at the way the Buccaneers are 3-0 right now, I can only say that the Buccaneers right now are vying for a 1 seed in the NFC. And I don't think that is going to be the case later in the season. I think the Bucs are 3-0.
Right, but they're not falling out of the playoffs.
No, they're not. They're not falling out of the playoffs. We both love Baker Mayfield, but this is not going to be a team that is 10, 11, 12, and 0. That's not going to be the case.
I was looking at it the other way. The only 0-3 team that could possibly be a candidate.
Oh, this is good.
There isn't. So I was about to say there isn't one, but I'm going to offer you maybe
there is.
So it sounds like Houston. It feels like Houston could wear this crown, but their offensive line play is just as bad as any problem as you can find in football. And if your offensive line is that bad of a problem, you have no puncher's chance. You really don't. I'm going to say there is no 0-3 team right now to consider a candidate, but for, let's see what Jackson Dart does to resurrect the New York Giants. If Jackson Dart to Malik Neighbors turns into something that is winning fantasy leagues, maybe that now and by the way, if that guy walks on water, he may be the Messiah. Most guys, when they go to walk on water, go to the bottom. Let's see, I'm not expecting Jackson Dart to be New York's Messiah, but it ain't going to be Houston. It ain't going to be the Jets. It ain't going to be the Dolphins. It ain't going to be the Titans, and it ain't going to be the Saints. So that
I am so with you. The only team that gives us the hope with the decision that they've made, the Giants, I'm willing to say, are back to 0-0, right? The Jackson Dart has not lost a game yet. So I'm at least willing to say that I'd like to witness that before I declare it over with. And I love the fact that the Rams wanted Jackson Dart. See, to me, there's two set of eyeballs on Jackson Dart. I don't just put it on the fact that the Giants, I don't maybe trust what they've done as a front office.
If you're just the Giants that wanted him, that would be a problem.
The fact that the Rams have a stamp on this as well, when you're verified on Twitter, right? I feel like Jackson Dart is verified by the Rams. The Rams wanted to get him. The Giants traded ahead of the Rams. As soon as the Giants selected Jackson Dart, the Rams said, see you tomorrow. We're not drafting in the first round. They wanted Dart. They knew that something was up with Stafford. They told told Stafford to go look at other jobs. Then they re-signed him. Then they wanted to draft Jackson Dart. The Giants came in and took 2 first-round draft picks. That's endorsed. To me, that is endorsed. That is Les Snead on this as much as Joe Shane, and I love it for that. I'm willing to say that the Giants could do something. Now, their division is no walk in the park either. They have, obviously, the final score doesn't say this, they had played Washington very competitively the year before, and through 3 quarters, they played Washington competitively this season. And if we all think that Washington's not exactly the team they were last season, then the Giants could stand a chance.
What would be really interesting, the way that the Giants might affect the postseason more than rising like Lazarus from the cave and walking among the living again, more than anything else, let's say the Jackson Dart elevation doesn't change anything.
Fine.
And 3 weeks from now, they're 0-6. Well, all of a sudden, maybe Thibodeau is available at the trade deadline. All of a sudden, maybe Brian Burns is available at the deadline. Maybe the players that they're going to say aren't available today become available. Maybe that could help the 49ers again. There are a handful of teams the 49ers need to pay attention to in terms of how do you solve this Nick Bosa injury. It is the Saints, Cam Jordan, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
I would be interested in Cam Jordan. Can we talk about Cam Jordan?
That's a great one.
How about a 5th rounder for Cam Jordan? Who says no? Who says no?
I love that.
If you're saying no to a 5th, we'll talk 4th, not 3rd. He's fucking 39 years old. Okay, but he's not 39 years old, but he's football 39. Anyway, it's the Jets, it's the Dolphins, it's all the teams that we just talked about. It's the Jets, Dolphins, Titans, and Saints, and maybe the Giants that could be sellers at some point here.
When you talk Dolphins, by the way, I want to mention another guy.
Yeah. Oh, but Barry Ford coming in with a super. We just got to say thank you, Barry. He's bang, bang. Great show. I'm still concerned about Brock.
Yeah.
Might come back too soon. We've been talking about that quite a bit already. And yeah, I would err on the side of caution. Sip of the day. I will have a sip of the day with you. Absolutely. Thank you very much. And he's putting $5 in the jar. Thank you very much, Barry.
That was a delicious sip. Thank you,
That was
Barry.
a good sip too. I had a very good sip right there.
I like that. And for Barry, I want to say, I like, by the way, Bradley Chubb, Dolphins.
Okay, maybe. Yeah.
Another guy that can make a difference. I mean, that's a team that's absolutely, they're sellers right now.
That's right. By the way, whenever you say Chubb, I think Nick Chubb, and I'm like, he's not a Dolphin. No, you mean the other Chubb.
The Chubb that's much more relevant at this point in a conversation about a team looking for a championship. So.
Indeed. By the way, so I know we just said what 3-0 team could be, what 0-3 team could be. The real freaking question is, what you're really asking is, which team will you believe in after one of them goes 1-3?
Oh, this is great. And by the way, before you hit all this, I just want to read one statistic, which is I want to remind everyone that the 0-3, the 0-2 teams that make the playoffs, I want to recalibrate everybody because 2021, Damon, is when we got the 18 weeks, the 17th game. So since 2021, 13 teams have started a season 0-3, 0 have made the playoffs. And in that same time frame, the 0-3 teams, 12 of the previous 15 3-0 teams made the playoffs. So 3 did miss in that span. 3-0 teams missed the playoffs, but 0-3, no one's done it since we've had 17 games. So
you got a better chance to stumble off the dance floor than you do to climb back up onto it.
So that's it. But now go to your next point because this is a great one.
Come Monday morning, unless we got some bullshit tie game, come Monday morning, either the Kansas City Chiefs or the Baltimore Ravens is going to be 1-3.
Wow. And
either of those teams is going to be the best 1-3 team in football. We know that. Like,
oh my God.
I'm going to tell you right now, man, Kansas City is, you can just feel them fading. You can see it. You can feel it. I think you can feel it where the Ravens are just still frustrating at times more than they are fading. They're just like, this is what the Ravens do.
And it's, I want to just remind everyone, I really just want to go through this and just tell everybody again, I want you to hear what Damon just said. 1-3 Baltimore, 1-3 Kansas City. You're getting one of those. And choosing this is sort of just like fun for you and I to go through, but it also really, it's first of all, it says something about the Bills. First of all, Buffalo, that week 1 game was such an incredible swing, and the fact that Kansas City lost to the Chargers and the fact that the Ravens and Bills both played so well, but the Bills, of course, came out on top. Think about what that means. I mean, the Bills right now could be looking at it. And so when you look at these schedules, that's what I want to do, Damon. Which team, if you give them 1-3, right? So the Chiefs have gone LLW in a game that, by the way, through halftime looked ugly at the Meadowlands. So the rest of the way after week 4, which of these teams that schedule right there for the Chiefs, it's not outrageous. It doesn't scream to me that there's a problem. However, they haven't owned the division. The fact that the Chargers have a win against them already tells you that now the division feels at least in the balance. I feel like
they're going to be a 7-win team with games on Thanksgiving and Christmas. Like, you're not going to want the Kansas City Chiefs on your national TV games anymore. Can we flex out the Kansas City Chiefs?
Wow. Has it come to that? I will say that the referees, if you watch Sunday night, as far as all the conspiracy theories about the Chiefs getting all the calls, at one point in that game, the Giants had 5 yards of penalties against them and the Chiefs had 35 against them. So whatever you thought about them not getting flags thrown against them, I think that's out the window. And I'll say it's not about a conspiracy. It's about the fact that on your P's and Q's, on every detail, being different in practice each and every day, that's something the Chiefs don't have going for them right now. The Chiefs are no longer the most detail-oriented team. You can just see that. You can, if you look at the ways that they have shown up in the first 3 weeks, it's different. It's different. Something's different here.
So Ravens this week, then they're going to get the Jaguars and what remains of them after the 49ers play them.
Yes.
Lions, good luck.
Oof.
Raiders, win.
Right now it looks like that. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Las Vegas is in full fucking panic mode.
How did that happen? I was so excited. Damon, I was so excited.
They are in full on this week game against the Chicago Bears is a referendum on whether Pete Carroll was the right guy to get the job. And oh my man, there is panic in Vegas going on right now. But look at this. So the Chiefs are going to, I think, lose to the Ravens, beat the Jaguars, lose to the Lions. Raiders, they'll win. Maybe lose to the Commanders. Definitely lose at the Bills. They haven't played the Broncos yet. What if all of a sudden, Bo Nix is not the worst passer in football by week 11, and then he's going to get 2 stabs at him? Colts, who the hell knows what they are come week 12. Cowboys, who the hell knows by week 13. Texans, figure it out. I don't know. Dude, Chargers, dude. The Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl window is closed. Let me just be the first. There you go, everybody. You're welcome. It's over. Our national
I want that to stand. I want that statement.
Nick Wright on the fucking phone. It's over, Nick.
It very well could be. We know that it closes. By the way, it closes faster than for most teams. It closes faster than it has. If you want to close it for Kansas City, they also had a nice window, and they did a lot with it. I don't want to. Right? This is
the Kansas City Chiefs. When their window closed, another parade should be thrown for the level of excellence. What is it? 7-9 consecutive AFC titles.
So it's this. So by the way, it's definitely 5 Super Bowl appearances over the last 7 seasons. And by the way, the 2 times they didn't make it to the Super Bowl in those 7 seasons, they lost in overtime of the AFC Championship.
Right.
Okay. They lost to Brady to Gronk in an AFC Championship game the year that the Eagles beat Brady in the Super Bowl. And they lost to Burrow in overtime in that game the year that the Rams beat the Bengals in the Super Bowl. That's it. Every other Super Bowl they've been in.
Dude,
that's ridiculous.
They're the third most significant, or without even ranking, there are 3 significant NFL dynasties in my lifetime. Everything else has either been a handful of 1 or 2 good years, but the dynasties of my life are as follows. I guess there's been 4, actually. There's 4. It's Niners of the 80s, Cowboys of the 90s, Patriots of the aughts, and then the Chiefs. That's it.
And I'm going to add one more. The Patriots have 2. The Patriots actually did it twice. The Patriots sort of have, they sort of have 2 different dynasties. It's just they kind of have 2 different dynasties, and I only wanted to say that because the Chiefs could do that. The Chiefs could sort of take like a divisional loss reset, because that's kind of what happened. There was like Jake Plummer beating the Patriots at one point with the Broncos, with Champ Bailey made an incredible play, and it's like, but then they reset it.
Yeah, today.
Look at that, amazing. But then it sort of reset, and they dominated and ended up in every AFC Championship game again after that. So it does happen. There's these slight things where you think it's over, and then maybe Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, because we all think Mahomes has 8 seasons where he could still be the most dominant quarterback in the game. And if that happens, they're going to be contending for AFC Championship games. And it just that I want to let everyone hear that from you today, though, that it's over for Kansas City.
No, I mean, here's the thing. It ain't over, but it's a lot closer to being done than it is staying away.
It is. And so if you want, I will here, read this super. Let's go.
Kevin, yeah, thank you, Kevin. Kansas City feels due for a letdown season. 21 extra playoff games in the last 7 years. Older roster, very competitive division, unlike the 2010 Patriots. Seriously, I mean, the Patriots had a few things going for them. The AFC East, probably chief among them. The AFC East did as much to help the Patriots dynasty as Bill Belichick or Tom Brady ever did.
It is amazing when you look at that, the referendum on that AFC East to just bow out, other than a game in Miami at the end of the season that they always struggled with. And then there was Chad Pennington beating them and then Mark Sanchez even, right? So those things happen. But
Chiefs have 6 national games. Can that be changed? Again, what flex it? I mean, how would you like to be like, oh, you got a big national game at Arrowhead. Taylor Swift is going to be there. Yeah, we're going to take Seahawks Cardinals instead.
Amazing. I mean, amazing. If they get flexed out, that'll be the ultimate move. I mean, that is the ultimate flex on them. I also will say that there's a lot of people in the country that probably would enjoy Kansas City losing national games.
Oh, Schadenfreude losses, without a doubt. There will be some Schadenfreude.
Exactly. And I just we can put a Baltimore right now to just look at that. If we're talking about 1 and 3 teams that can rebound, right? So whatever the loser is here, like which team can afford to be 1 and 3 more? I think Baltimore has a better shot because Baltimore can still win their division. See, Baltimore, again, Pittsburgh, nobody really is taking Pittsburgh for real right now with Rodgers. We're all thinking it's like, okay, it's been good enough. But Baltimore still has such a front seat based on the Burrow injury. I mean, the Burrow thing, we all thought Cincinnati was going to be vying for an AFC championship. And right now, none of us have that because it's Browning for Burrow. And unless Cincinnati, by the way, a move I want Cincinnati to make is Kirk Cousins. Now, maybe that's more in my mind than it will be on the field, making a huge difference. But I still think Kirk Cousins could be a piece in Cincinnati to make a run.
Hey, how about Mac Jones for
for Hendrickson, just straight up,
straight up there.
But yeah,
you look at it this way: Cincinnati to save money might do that.
You're right. They
enough to maybe do that. By the way, here we are making bold predictions, talking about we think we know what's going to happen. Well, if you think you know what's going to happen, buck up. Buckaroo. Go ahead and check out Sleeper. Get $100 deposit match up to your first $100 on your first deposit. Use promo code Damon when you do that. Use the link in the description of this very video that you're watching right now. Have an awful lot of fun. It's America's fastest growing fantasy app. It is basically you pick your players, you say more or less, you string them all together, you build your own parlays, you adjust your own odds. It is an awful lot of fun at Sleeper. Find out for yourself and put your deep knowledge of football to use for you and maybe make a little money. Make good choices over on Sleeper. Thank you again to my man Ike, who is always delivering delicious sandwiches. And thanks to our friends at the Dubliner West Portal as well. We hope to see everybody there in the Bay Area in San Francisco, October 4th, 420. Next Saturday, my friends. Hopefully you plan on being there next Saturday. We got a very interesting weekend coming up on the TV here, Sam. Can we go through what our viewing options are coming up this weekend? I'm going to start the concept of weekend here on a Thursday night because we got Thursday night football and
NFC West.
It might not be a nationwide sexy game, but to our audience, the folks that we're talking to out here on the West Coast, usually right now, hey, we got Seahawks and Cardinals tonight. Seahawks and Cardinals tonight. That is an NFC West game. Like Sammy said, that's a big one. Now, maybe golf isn't the thing for you. What if I put a little international competition and a very drunk, angry Bethpage Black gallery around a whole bunch of guys not liking each other playing golf? We get the Ryder Cup. International Flair, drunken Long Island, New York gallery, which will be as much of the that'll be as much as the show as the golf.
What made the Ryder Cup even more interesting is Live Golf, because now you've got guys that are sort of on 2 different pages that have to come together, right? I mean, that's what's great about it is you've got these little rivalries that happen because of Live, and now they need to come together for the country, like for the greater good.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, you got to put your differences beside you. A little, how about this? Some nonpartisan golf to heal America. Wouldn't that be nice?
That's
so
all
you got that. Now, okay, I know this doesn't mean shit to most of you, but my 11th ranked Hoosiers go to Iowa and win at Iowa this weekend. We're fucking a top 10 team in the country. Mendoza's getting Heisman consideration. Signetti is going to get calls from NFL teams. Indiana football is coming for you, your girls, your mother, your wife. We are here to fuck everything. It's time for Indiana football to fuck. I'm so excited. Let's go fucking Iowa. Let's go. Let's go. So there's that. I know it doesn't mean an awful lot to you, but for the first time ever, Indiana football means something.
Well, by the way, can we just look at the last two scores? I just want to remind everybody from an Indiana standpoint. So Illinois is a very real opponent.
Frauds, absolute fraud.
And they were beaten 63-10. I mean, 63-10 is a score you don't see often. And the only thing you have to do to be even more impressed is go a week prior when the score was 73-0.
Indiana put up the biggest ranked Big Ten victory in the history of the Big Ten.
There you go. That's
things that I didn't think I would ever say out loud. That's one of them. Okay. Also this Saturday, LSU at Ole Miss. Both those teams are 4-0. We got number 6 Oregon at number 3 Penn State. It is the game that James Franklin can never win. Can he win it this year? James Franklin gets Penn State to a big moment and always loses. Let's see what happens. It's going to be a whiteout in Happy Valley. That is going to be a buzzsaw for Oregon. Ducks by 2 touchdowns. Number 17,
Ole Miss is favored. By the way, Ole Miss favored against LSU.
I know. Number 17, Alabama, playing for Kalen DeBoer's life. At number 5, Georgia. Little local flair. My buddy Vince Vargas goes Sparty. San Jose State at Stanford. Go Sparty. Go beat Stanford. Cal is at Boston College. Nobody's going to want to watch that, but I like Saca por la tele. So
guess what? So their quarterback is for real. I want to say again, one of our very dear friends, Aaron Larsoul. He's such a Cal fan, but you won't find a Cal football fan more obsessed than Aaron Larsoul. He goes to just about every home game. He lives in Los Angeles. He travels to get back up north to go to almost every single home game, and then picks 3 games a season that he'll go to on the road, including this last week where he was at the San Diego State game. 34-0. Cal was beaten. That didn't, of all the realm of possibilities in that score, I never saw that one coming. So yikes, they've got to bounce back.
Ryder Cup all weekend long. Fun day of college football coming up on Saturday. On Sunday, we get our very first international NFL game. So if you want to get up early, you want to bake some banana nut muffins and get the whole house up early, we got Vikings and Steelers from Dublin kicking off at 6:30 a.m. West Coast. If I got to get out of bed early, there's nothing better to pop on my TV. Oh, football's already started. That's great. Do you want to watch another pregame show? No, I don't. Just give me a game. Give me a shitty game from Dublin. Steelers and Vikings in Dublin.
And let me preface my take on this. I would swap out Thursday night football for a full Sunday of 4 windows.
I would do that too. I think I would do that too. I really would. So come Sunday, you get up early. I'm going to be honest with you. Unless you care about these teams, 49ers and Jaguars sucks. It's not even a good game in the NFL slate. It matters to us. It matters to what we do, matters to our audience because you're Niners fans. So it matters to you. This is not a casual observer game. There's no Jacksonville Jaguars involved in a casual observer sexy game. Not never. The huge game that nobody saw coming. Your 3-0 Colts at the 2-1 Rams. That when the season schedule came out, nobody looked at that game or even that game was not mentioned in Indianapolis nor in Los Angeles. But here we are 4 weeks in. That's a big game this weekend. Ravens Chiefs, again, one of those teams is going to be 1-3 on Monday. Raiders fans already full on DEFCON 1 franchise credibility week against the Chicago Bears. And if the Bears beat if the Bears just win the game, I guess that's football. If the Bears embarrass the Raiders, they might burn Allegiant Stadium down. It is not good. It is not good. And how about this? Packers, Cowboys, Sunday Night Football. No Micah Parsons video will be on display at Texas Stadium. No.
So Sunday Night Football does an incredible job of getting games. Now, I want to explain to everyone how this happens. So CBS and Fox, they hold on to certain games. They say these are not available for NBC to have for Sunday Night Football. They hold tight to certain games. Your Eagles, Cowboys, some of the traditional matchups, they hold. Chiefs, Bills, right?
Right.
And then Sunday Night Football gets the pick of the litter outside of those that they get to hold on to. Packers Cowboys is a great game just in regards to the brands themselves. It's also a rematch from the wild card round a couple of years ago where the Cowboys win streak at home was obliterated by the Packers and Jordan Love. They lost the next week to the Niners in the divisional. But to know that this was their game, when the schedule came out, it was nice. Packers Cowboys, we're all going to watch that no matter what. Then Micah Parsons gets traded. I mean, there may not be a game on the schedule the rest of the season that matches that intensity just from a pregame standpoint.
Cherry on top standpoint of that oh my God. Jerry Jones walking the field. Does Micah Parsons come over? I mean, there will be cameras everywhere on that one. And it might be one of the only, like, there can't be more than 2 or 3 days of my lifetime where I will root for the Green Bay Packers, but there's a part of me that wants Parsons to come in there and prove to Jerry Jones, it's time for you to stop making decisions, dude. It really is. By the way, the Cowboys are a 68-yard field goal away from being 0-3.
Think about that.
Okay. 2 Monday Night Football games. They both stink. One of them's got the Jets in it. The other has the Dolphins in it. We apologize, America. We all deserve better. The revenge game factor, though, it's I mean, in terms of selling pregame hype. It's going to be annoying. Like, I'm not going to be able to even watch the Football Night in America run up on this one. It's going to be that obnoxious. I was thinking, though, revenge games. We always talk about revenge games. What are your favorite revenge games? And it feels like there would be like, oh man, I'm just going to put the ladle in the bucket and I'm going to come up with like 20 really good examples.
Sure. Nope.
I really don't have that many examples of revenge games. I think we joke about them more than we really see them or talk about them, or, it'll be something, like this is the Bartolo Colon revenge.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Meaningless throwaway line. I was thinking about just, you said we should talk about revenge game performances. Yeah. And so I started thinking about them. And my first thought was, I can't even come up with many in my actual mental Rolodex. Here's the first thing I thought of. The Rorschach test of revenge game to me in the NFL was Deion Sanders' first game back in the Georgia Dome when he was a 49er. And I think he picked off Jeff George twice. He definitely brought one of them to the house, and he was like, he was high stepping with his hand behind his head from like the 50-yard line.
Yes.
There's that game. There was Joe Montana beating the Niners loudly in a year that the Niners won the Super Bowl. So
that's a great one.
It was revenge in the moment, but the Niners had the last laugh there. I remember Charles Barkley having like 35 rebounds his first game against the Phoenix Suns after they gave up on him and traded him to the Houston Rockets. Like, Charles Barkley came out and rebounded like he was Wilt Chamberlain. I remember that. And I really don't have much more. I mean, I really don't. Anthony Davis's first game back in New Orleans, but no one gives a shit about the Pelicans to even care about that. So when I say revenge game to you, what's the first thing that comes up?
It's Favre. It's Brett Favre. It's Brett Favre. Now, because Brett Favre
going
when he first with Minnesota, the first game at Lambeau when he was a Viking. I think it was Monday. It was Monday night or Sunday night. He did win the game, and because of Favre retiring and unretiring, and the Packers essentially saying, "Well, too late. We now have decided that this is Rodgers' team." Mm-hmm. That was so fascinating to me. The idea that, in other words, he never thought in his wildest dreams that when he unretired, it wouldn't have just been a red carpet right back to the Packers. So the idea that it was not so fast, like your seat is already taken, that was glorious. And of course, the fact that it happened in division was so beautiful. So it was not the Jets comeback, but the Minnesota. It was being back as a division rival. That was the one I will forever remember, because that was the, because you're going to have, this is a rivalry for the division. The Vikings end up going to the NFC Championship with Brett Favre, right? I mean, it was so in the moment, like, here's Favre telling them, double birds to you. I've still got it. You had your chance. Now, granted, he's the one that said he retired first. So, I love it for that. And Johnny Damon playing for the Yankees, that was so, there's something about that, because it's so involved in the 2003 collapse of the 2004, right? That's why it's so tied into history.
No, I mean, because I could also say, one of the things I thought of, but I didn't bother writing it down because I didn't have one example, but every time Greg Maddux pitched against the Cubs wearing a Braves jersey, it felt like he gave us a Maddux, a complete game shutout in under 100 pitches. Greg Maddux owned the Cubs after he left the Cubs.
Exactly. So that it was just, I mean, when guys become synonymous, and I understand, I mean, look, for A's fans that are listening to us, you want to say Johnny Damon was yours, of course, but when you're talking Red Sox, Yankees from a rivalry standpoint, it's like to play for both of those and then play insignificant games for both of those. That's just one that I can never get over. You know, even Clemens doesn't kind of rise to that for me. It's just that Damon was so tied to that particular series that year, that time when it all mattered, you know, getting over Aaron Boone, the comeback from 03. That was just, to me, I just remember that always as him being sort of the face of it. And he had to wear it, you know, so that was amazing. So, but Favre is just, he was like Brett Favre. He's a Packer, right? Even though he's a Jet and a Viking, he's a Packer, and yet he had these significant games against the Packers as well. So I don't think I'll ever lose that in my mind. And the fact that now we have another Packers revenge game with Micah, I think this has a chance because it's in Dallas to be of course, look, the era of recency is going to have many people claiming that it is this game that is the most exciting rivalry game, but if the amount of cutaways that we're going to have to Jerry, you know, if Micah's making an impact to this game, there's both the fact that we had the Jerry Jones documentary, which told us that he has regret about the Herschel Walker thing and the way that people remember it. And now you and I have already said, maybe he did this. Maybe the Micah thing is him saying, I don't need Jimmy to make a wild, crazy trade that changes our franchise for the better. And in this moment, it's likely not going to look like it's for better. And it's going to be all like, Jerry, this is on you. Every cutaway is, Jerry, how do you feel about this? And that, from a TV standpoint, is going to be glorious because of what you said 20 minutes ago, which is it's one of the greatest dynasties of our time. Jerry's the only tie to it still. He's there, and now we get to say,
look at it this
how
way.
Does this taste?
Jerry's not going to need any Viagra this week. He's going to have such a media hard-on. Everyone's going to be shoving microphones in his face. And as far as he's concerned, that's his Super Bowl.
Yes.
The more microphones in his face, the less he cares about a Super Bowl and just this moment. This is all I care about. And that it was very much demonstrated in that documentary about the Dallas Cowboys.
It was beautiful.
Sometimes we need to say goodbye to an old friend. And Sammy, hold on.
Yeah, you've got it. You've got it. I know it. The hair is also beautiful while you're getting it, but it's...
Wait a minute here. Wait a minute. We need to share this. We need to share it.
Come out, garbage. Attacking an amateur athlete for doing everything right. And then you want to write articles about guys that don't do things right and downgrade them, ones that do make
Here it comes.
Are you kidding me? Where are we at in society today? Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40. I'm not a kid. Write something about me or our coach.
Goodbye, Mike Gundy. And all I can tell you is you deserved a better ending than you got. Mike Gundy has spent more than half of his life. He was the team's quarterback. Then he was an assistant coach. Then he was a head coach. He is an alum. He has spent the last 25 years of his life on that campus at Stillwater. And they got rid of him. I read a really good article by Pat Forty saying that the abrasive nature that made him his coach led to such a blunt firing.
Okay.
And that's the way it had to be. Like, you knew it wasn't going to end well for a guy like that. And it didn't. But Mike Gundy, you were worth the price of admission. You did more to make Oklahoma State matter than any other coach in my lifetime. You've basically been the only coach that mattered there in my lifetime. And he didn't even really have the mullet back then.
No, I forgot it. I remembered it differently as far as what he looked very clean. And that's a good look for him right now.
I'm a man. I'm 40. I mean, if I can't even, have I played that 5,000 times as a drop on my show in my career back in the day? Probably. I love the I'm a man, I'm 40. That's one of the greatest highlights ever.
It also applies so well outside of sports. That's what makes it so transcendent. I'm a man, I'm 40 applies to how many situations. I mean, for a man or a woman, 40th birthday for anybody, that's well worth putting up their 40th anniversary. Anything with 40.
I wanted to replace my horn. I don't want my horn to go beep, beep. I wanted to go, I'm a man, I'm 40 every time I push the horn.
I asked you, is there a better soundbite from a coach? There are memorable ones, and you play to win the game, and the Bears are who we thought they were.
O'Malley, and I'm 50. Oh, I love that Saturday. When I turned 50, it's the first thing I thought of. I can kick, and I can stretch, and I can kick. I'm 50.
I'm a man. I'm 40. I'm gonna say it from a coaching standpoint. It's my favorite soundbite, and here's why. I also really believe in the message behind it. Have you ever seen a coach throw a blanket over his team in a more significant way, right? This isn't just a coach ranting. And he's also, again, as much as I love Jim Mora, he's crushing his team at the moment, right? So there's part of that I'm like, this is him standing up for his team, Gundy, and for his players to say, don't attack kids. And in an NIL era, this is going to that'll lose a little luster, right? And now that players are being paid officially, that's going to lose a little bit. But think about it. He's protecting kids who essentially are not, quote unquote, not getting paid back then. And he's saying, I'm the coach that is getting paid. Put it on me. Don't put it on them. I mean, it is the ultimate arm around you moment. And he is flexing it so brazenly, making a point when none of us, and by the way, this is before every press conference was really on TV also, right? Like this had to kind of get through social media wasn't even quite as blatant then. And this had to get to us through waves of media. And that's how it landed on everybody's desk. I love it for that. And by the way, if there's not already a statue of Gundy outside of that stadium, my Gundy is, he's Jesus there.
By the way, that happened back in 2007.
That's wild.
The world was a different place. And that, certainly that was, it's like the, God, what was his name? The guy who was running for president, and it all went away when he went, yeah.
Oh, right. Yes. And I'm forgetting now too. Yeah. And I wanted to say Ross Perot. Yes.
Tim, something.
Yes.
Again, that's, either way. No one remembers the losers. That's proof of it right there. That's proof of it right there. Howard Dean.
Yes.
Dean. Thank you very much.
Got it. Yep.
Yeah. I'm a man. I'm 40, and Howard Dean thing lived in the same universe for a minute there.
Yes.
We talked about so. By the way, the "I'm a man. I'm 40" rant, as great as it is the Mickey Mouse Club on the Disney Channel compared to my favorite rant of all time.
Oh, it better be Bobby.
No, well, there's a million Bobbies. Like Bobby took it to an art form. It wouldn't be
Bobby Knight. For those that don't understand, we're saying Bobby Knight was my introduction to sports through Damon.
And so all I can tell you right now is that if you're going to compare every girl to Cindy Crawford, you're going to walk through life disappointment.
Sure.
You cannot compare any other coach's rant to Bob Knight's rants. And he is the Cindy Crawford of angry coaching. There's no comparison. The Lee Elia rant from Wrigley Field.
Oh, my God.
The Lee Elia rant from Wrigley Field when he was, that is
you're right.
An unbelievable moment in time. But my single favorite, certainly well-timed, perfectly delivered. What is my favorite post-game quote in the history of sports? Well, my favorite question has always been to Doug Williams, how long have you been a black quarterback? That's the single greatest question ever asked in any interview ever. Doug, how long have you been a black quarterback?
Oh, my God.
That is the greatest question in the history of questions. The greatest answer was when John McKay was.
Thank you. Oh, my God. Thank you. You're going there. You and I did not discuss this. This is by far my favorite answer. Please go. John
McKay, after the Buccaneers were embarrassed, the reporter asked him, what do you think of the execution of your team? And he said, I'm all for it. That's the best answer ever. What do you think of your team's execution? I'm for it.
So perfect. And like you said, because it was such a dry delivery, it was just, and he didn't skip a beat. As if it was a rehearsed play that he knew the line to, right? That was so well done.
The timing on that answer was just perfect. Now we've got Barry saying playoffs,
of course,
without a doubt. But I would almost say that got overused.
In a way. And again, Jim Mora, we used to work with Jim at Fox Sports Radio, and he was
Jim Mora diddly poo. The Jim Mora diddly poo, I always thought was better than the playoff rant.
That's true. And I see the Mike Tyson. It's spinal. My back is broken. That was a pretty amazing one. He also said something about Zoloft that is my favorite thing ever. It's not played as often, but he said it's just, trust me, type in Mike Tyson Zoloft. But we were talking about coaches.
Well, didn't we also, he said, didn't he say he was going to beat someone to Bolivian?
Bolivian.
Not Oblivion.
Not Oblivion. Bolivian, which is both a country and an expression, by the way. You
Raw with no trivia. Like cocaine straight from Bolivia.
I love it. Love it. Love it. So that, I mean, look, Gundy, I that statue, I want to see the versions of that statue, by the way, for Gundy. And the hair better be represented, even though in that clip, you're right, he had a very nice high and tight cut. But I think for the statue, we gotta represent the mullet for sure. Shut up, Olivia. That's so good. That is so good. That is so well done.
You know what? See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Whoa. Oh,
all right. God. So we're going to do it today in history, but two final things before we get there.
Yes.
We've been doing this we've been kind of ending the show with today in history, and our grind our gears segment, our just saying segment. Just saying. Sam, what are you just saying today about sports that's rubbing you the wrong way?
Okay. So just saying, you can let me speak for about 10 seconds and then you can bring up the screen that I have there and we'll play with that. So just saying, right now you're going to hear a lot this week. One of the games that Damon didn't mention on the slate that's pretty exciting, and it's in the early slate on Sunday. Well, it's on the second slate on Sunday because we have an early. So it's on the 1 p.m. Eastern slate. But the Bucks and Eagles in Tampa, 3-0. And we've talked about the fact that the Bucks 3-0 and they came back. I mean, look, if you take away the last 90 seconds of their 3 games, they're 0-3. But guess what? Those 90 seconds count, and Baker Mayfield has been every bit of magnificent in those 90 seconds. They are 3-0. But the story you're going to hear is that Todd Bowles owns the Eagles. Okay. You're going to hear it now. Now, this is bold. I don't normally do this, and the Eagles are going to have to back me up on this. But there's one guy in particular that has to back me up, and I'm comfortable saying it because he spoke out this week, and I just want to back him up. Todd Bowles is 1-4 against the Eagles as either the defensive coordinator or the head coach with the Buccaneers. Okay. So we're talking Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni.
Doesn't sound like ownage to me.
And we're talking about Todd Bowles, all right? So sorry, Todd Bowles is 4-1. Apologies. Todd Bowles is 4. Apologies. The Eagles are 1-4 against Bowles when he is the defensive coordinator or the head coach of the Buccaneers. So the Eagles have lost 4 and they've won 1. Now we can go ahead, if you can put the graphic up here, I want to show this. So here's the games, all right? So since Todd Bowles is there, now granted, the first 2 you're seeing there, he's the defensive coordinator. The next 3, he's the head coach. And now we've got another one coming up this Sunday. Now look at those games and look at the scores. Now, first of all, most of the games are in Tampa. Only one of them was in Philly. Granted, the Eagles lost the one in Philadelphia. I want to remind everybody a couple of things. The first 2 games are also Super Bowl champion. Tom Brady coming off of the Bucs Super Bowl championship the next season, then beat the Eagles in the regular season in Hurts' rookie season, and then beat them in the playoffs. In that first game, the Eagles did not have Dallas Goedert or Lane Johnson. In the 2 losses that you see on the bottom here, skip to the next screen if you can, Damon. I'll actually do it on this one. Look at this. I want to show over. Yep, go back. Here we go. There it is. Boom. The only game the Eagles won is the only one they had A.J. Brown in. I want to remind everyone.
A.J. Brown, America's the happiest to be here wide receiver.
A.J. Brown, who, by the way, A.J. Brown was every bit of spectacular last weekend. They do not come back against the Rams unless A.J. Brown is in that game and dominant in that second half. He was telling the Rams secondary, get off me, I'm late for class. I mean, that was unbelievable the way he was swatting people off of him to gain first downs, to gain an extra 15 yards. A.J. Brown in that one win had 9 catches for 131 yards. That was the 2023 season, Monday Night Football in Tampa. It was never a game.
What are you just saying? There's a lot of preamble for your What are you just saying?
Just saying. I am not ready to say that the Bucs or Todd Bowles own the Eagles until this game on Sunday.
This is okay.
My just saying is, do not tell me and do not give the because this is an A.J. Brown game. This is an opportunity for A.J. Brown to follow up what is his best game of this season. He also told the Eagles, I hope the offense runs more this way. This is the opportunity. I'm just saying that there's a lot of bullshit around what is the Todd Bowles ownership, because not only that, last season in the game that the Eagles lost, they didn't have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, or Lane Johnson.
Do you want to know who really thinks about Todd Bowles? No one.
There you go.
No.
There you go.
No.
So that's what I'm just saying. Take the context of these things, and the Eagles could prove me very wrong. But what are you just saying?
I'm happy that you're no longer angry at graphics.
I'll find another one.
I feel like the segment is evolving because your anger is at somewhere other than the graphics department.
I pointed it somewhere else.
So here's what I'm just saying. And I won't even toss this out as an own original idea. I was talking yesterday with our friend John Goulet.
Yes.
I called Goulet yesterday just to say hi. And we're just talking. How you doing? What's going on? And, we were just talking. And he brought up something to me and just in conversation. And it stood out to me. And I do think this bothers me. There is nobody in media developing anybody in media. ESPN found and groomed Rich Eisen and Kenny Mayne and Stuart Scott and Scott Van Pelt. These were guys who were local entities that ESPN said, ooh, we found him. That's the one. We're going to bring him up. We're going to call him out of the minors. We're going to put him in the majors. And we are going to groom this guy to someday be an anchor and a figurehead of this network. That is not how the media goes about developing what we're seeing anymore. ESPN, instead of actually finding and grooming the next generation of anything, instead of finding the next Lee Corso, they went out and they bought him. His name's Pat McAfee. Instead of finding or grooming the next group of anchors or broadcasters, they go out and buy. Okay, so we got another big college game. What are we going to do? Should we have a group that we're elevating? No, just fly in the Bussin' with the Boys. Basically, you have networks buying individual audiences. Bussin' with the Boys has its own audience. Maybe they'll bring their audience to our network. McAfee has a huge audience. Maybe they'll bring that audience to our network. How about Fox Sports 1? Right now, they got a brand new morning show. It is launched, and it's going to fail because you can't have a show that has a different host every day. This Barstool wake-up thing that they're doing, you're not going to get Big Cat every show. You're not going to get Portnoy every show. And those are the only two guys you give a fuck. The rest of those guys are just fat dudes sitting around talking sports. And you don't know who any of them are because you aren't a stoolie. You're just watching sports talk on FS1 and you don't know who these guys are. And that's why we have as many people watching us as that show has on FS1. And again, should we hire and develop our own talent? No, let's just lease it from a place that's already got an audience. And if you're wondering why sports TV is going to become harder and harder to, the only person, whether you like him or not, Fox Sports 1 plucked Nick Wright out of Houston and said, we are going to develop this guy. We are going to turn him into the face of our whole operation at some point. Nick Wright is being groomed to replace Colin Cowherd at some point. He's the only person in that pipeline. And this is the way media works now. What's the girl who just got hired by ESPN because she's got like
the social media star? Yeah.
Followers. Again, I'm not on TikTok, so I don't know who she is. They didn't buy her because she's going to come up with anything interesting on ESPN. They bought her because she comes with 11 million. That's why they bought her. She comes with 11 million people who are already tuned in. So now those 11 million will be our 11 million.
I believe Katie Feeney, right? Katie Feeney.
That is a shitty way to go about your broadcasting minor league system. It really is.
I love it for getting you off your chest, Damon. And it is true. It's also an ode a little bit to what we're doing here. This, you can now sort of build your empire from nothing. And you're right. ESPN did an incredible job with all the people that you mentioned. And kudos to Fox. Nick is certainly someone I was right there for him being on the couch the first few times to call in. And it was a wow moment. Like, this guy's great.
He's great.
Just one of those shows up and you're just like, this guy's amazing.
If you don't like Nick Wright, it's working.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay. It's working. That's why he's a millionaire.
And he wasn't. Nick Wright built it. and built it from a radio show that became a big deal in Houston, and that, and frankly, Colin was also, Colin was also plucked by ESPN out of Portland, right? Colin was someone that ESPN said, we want to bring this guy to be a face of what we did, and he did.
No one heard of Colin Cowherd until he was on ESPN.
Yep. In Portland, you knew him. In Vegas, maybe a little bit, but ESPN certainly made that a shining star.
Speaking of shining stars of the moment, shining stars of the future.
Wow.
Can we talk about the single greatest Kings postgame host of all time? Ladies and gentlemen, I am very happy to let you know that this season on ESPN LA, look at that silver-haired fox in the middle. By the way, the reason why I wear blue shirts is because it brings out the blue in my eye. That Silver Kings jacket is bringing out the silver in the tips of your hair. You look wiser than you actually are. Look at Sam Betesh. He will be your Los Angeles Kings post-game host on ESPN LA all season long. Sammy, I'm proud of you. I know how excited you are. Please don't be sharing too much Kings information on this show because nobody gives a shit, but I know you do, and I know you love hockey, and you are going to be great at this. The man is finally coming out from the producer's room to grab a microphone. Sam Betesh, it's hockey night in Los Angeles.
Damon, I got to thank everybody here in the chat, and I'm going to thank you tremendously because it is this microphone that's sitting right here in a room in my house.
Donskoy, that's all you need to know. That's how excited everyone is. Donskoy.
Just thank you. This is a tremendous opportunity. And if something wild happens with the Sharks, I'll bring it here. And otherwise, that's it. If something just ridiculous happens on the ice for the Sharks, I'll bring it. And otherwise, if you're looking for hockey in your life, it'll be on ESPN LA after every Kings game with me. And I'll sprinkle a little bit in during the week with ESPN LA with the shows that you love out of there, Kaplan and Sedano. Right here.
Sam is the LA Kings version of Bonte Hill. There you go. I love it.
The silver fox and the silver jacket. Thank you for pointing out. Everyone wants, by the way, friends of mine that are Kings fans, they've all come for the jacket now. They're just saying, where do I get that jacket? I need that jacket. So yes, it's going to be beauty. Thank you, Damon, though. You're a humongous part, as you know, of my path to this place. And thank you. I love you deeply. You are a member of my family.
You are so solely responsible for this. I've had nothing to do with it. I am lucky to be able to have you as an old friend who I can bring into this. It's not lucky the other way around. You are going to take this job so seriously, so personally. There's no one that they could have possibly hired who will put more into this than you're about to. It's awesome. I am going to be tuning into Kings post game just to hear you, brother. I really, really am. Right. Not just when they play the Sharks. I will go out of my way, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to fly down to LA. We're going to a game at Staples Center. I want to be your spotter for a game. It's going to be great.
We're doing that.
So happy for you. This is awesome, Sammy. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it.
Thank you.
And everybody in this chat loves it too. We're so happy for you, man. It's going to be great. So today in history, Sammy is all grown up. He doesn't need us no more. Hopefully he remembers us when he's do you get a day with the cup?
It's interesting. I think it's worth writing that into, the contract that I don't even technically have, but it is worth writing that in, I think, to, I deserve that, right? I mean, we all deserve that day with the cup, and the Kings have already done it, but should they do it again with me now as officially a part of the team? Absolutely. Let's go.
200 a game, 250. What is it?
Right? It's we all know that we'd almost do it for nothing, right? I mean, there's a love
thing, and we will.
Exactly.
Happy birthday. By the way, a lot of big movie stars born today.
I'm ready for this.
Happy birthday. But, it was offered up. I think it was SF Indigo who brought this up yesterday, because yesterday was like the worst birthday day ever.
Really?
And there was some reason offered up for that.
Okay, interesting.
Yesterday is 9 months after Christmas. Apparently, people ain't banging it out on Christmas. You're a little tired after putting the bed.
Wow. Okay, interesting.
You got to put the trees under the, gifts under the tree, and so you just, you don't bang it out on Christmas. You just go to bed on Christmas. So maybe there's that. And today, by the way, also means we got 3 months until Christmas.
That's true. It's happening. It's happening. I've seen the Halloween decorations. I always know that means, all right, it's happening.
It's around the corner.
Yeah. Yeah.
We saw our first Halloween decorations today too. When we were driving to school, somebody must have put them up yesterday because there were cobwebs on somebody, and I'm like, wait a minute, here we go.
There you go.
So people weren't banging it out on Christmas. So yesterday was a bad birthday day. Today, happy 81st birthday to Michael Douglas. I mean, come on, man.
Silver Fox. Yeah.
Serious movie star of the 80s. Happy 74th birthday to Luke Skywalker. Mark Hamill turned 74 years old today. She was a big part of the development of my libido. She was the big part of the development of your libido. Happy 64th birthday to Heather Locklear. Thank you, Heather. Lots of memories. Thank you. Happy 60th birthday to Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen. You can sit around talking about the single greatest basketball players you ever watched in your life. You're probably going to forget to say Scottie Pippen, and you will be wrong because he was a bad man, dude. Scottie was awesome.
None of that happens without Scottie Pippen. I mean, it was what Phil Jackson was able to do to bring that together, to understand how important Scottie was to that. And for those that haven't seen Last Dance, do yourself a favor. It was during COVID. It was the coolest thing to watch during COVID. And if you've missed it, somehow go back and enjoy that.
It just shows you, kids, keep your hands to yourself. Happy 57th birthday to Will Smith. I don't care what Will Smith does for the rest of his life. I don't care what movie he stars in, what song he puts out. All he will ever be is the dude who slapped Chris Rock. In my mind, that's the very first train of thought that will go through my mind every time I see him from now on.
Does that make him the greatest husband of all time, by the way?
No, it doesn't, because she had to go out and get so much other dick for him to care about her. No, it doesn't. Sorry.
It was such a moment, though, where I thought, as a husband, and I was not, I haven't been a husband very long. It's 5 years now, but seeing that in that moment did tell me, that is sort of what that's what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to get sort of emotionally, viscerally upset if that is, if something like that is said about your wife. Now, granted, I don't think it rose to that level. I think you got to understand comedy, but
look at it this way. If Will Smith attacked the dude who banged his wife, I get it. Chris Rock's got a joke.
Yeah.
Chris Rock's got a joke. And oh, by the way, she don't want people joking about her hair. It's called a wig. A lot of black women wear them. You can wear one too. Or if you're going to let it rock, know that that's what people are going to say. And G.I. Jane, by the way, means you look good in that bald head. Demi Moore looked good as G.I. Jane. He wasn't being disrespectful to Jada Pinkett Smith. But what Jada Pinkett Smith is, first of all, she sucks. He sucks. They suck. It was obvious in that moment who they really are. And by the way, it's kind of ruined Chris Rock for me too, because I'm all about decorum until the gloves come off. And if the gloves come off and you ain't throwing punches, I lose respect. Chris Rock should have gone buck fucking wild right there. I'm going to tell you right now, there's no man in the world who could walk up to me, slap me into my face, and nothing happens. That's just, I mean, I could be in front of my children trying to set the best example I possibly could. I'm going to go animal in that moment. You want to see what nature does? This is what nature is. We ain't nurturing shit anymore. This is nature. You punch me, it's on. Game. Go. I'm sorry. People are like, well, the fact that he was able to maintain his composure shows how much more of a real man he really is. And, Chris Rock must have been, yeah. Theoretically, it would have been a lot cooler if he fucking put Will Smith's head through a teleprompter. That's the world I live in. You know who Michael Douglas is married to?
Zeta, no?
Catherine Zeta-Jones, who turns 56 today. By the way, how great is that for Michael as he's getting on in age?
Oh, nice.
I mean, I'm a 50-year-old man. I can't even remember my wife's birthday. If it were my birthday too, that would be a lot easier to remember. So
circle that one.
Yeah, so it's easy for Michael Douglas to keep track of Catherine Zeta-Jones's birthday, just like it was easy for us to keep track of her fanny in the movie with It's the Millennium. Ringing the bell with her ass.
So great.
It's the Millennium. It's that and the "You're the man now, dog" are the two great Sean Connery quotes. This man gave us freaking James Bond, and we have
put that
Finding Forrester and It's the Millennium. Okay. Happy 42nd birthday to Donald Glover, which I guess happy 42nd birthday to Childish Gambino.
Yes.
Happy 24th birthday to Cade Cunningham, the former number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft, and he's going to have a really good year starting soon. Let's see. What else happened today in history now that we're through the birthdays? Today in 1970, The Partridge Family and The Odd Couple both debuted on ABC.
Wow. I mean, they don't make shows like that anymore.
I watched more Odd Couple than I did Partridge Family. I'm going to tell you that right now. Yep. I love The Odd Couple when I was a kid.
Odd Couple was special.
Felix and Oscar. Today in 1980, Led Zeppelin officially broke up because John Bonham died from an alcohol-induced asphyxiation.
Yikes.
He choked on his own vomit.
Yeah, it's not great.
The greatest rock drummer of all time, the greatest rock drummer this side of Keith Moon, died on his own vomit. John Bonham, rest in peace. Zeppelin. By the way, the Becoming Led Zeppelin doc on Netflix, just awesome. Check it out. Let's see. Today, speaking of, the day the music died, the day that golf died, we lost Arnold Palmer today in 2016. Arnold Palmer. Arnold Palmer was, at a point in time, maybe the most recognizable and famous athlete in America. I mean, that's how big Arnold Palmer was.
He was. I mean, again, it's tough to live in a world with Tiger Woods and not know that Tiger was that. But again, you cannot order a Tiger Woods drink, and you can't order an Arnold Palmer. And so, I mean, we still got that, on the mantle ahead of Tiger. But Arnold Palmer was every bit of Tiger Woods.
By the way, Barry's coming in here. He's just at Memphis Tigers football.
Just saying.
Just
saying. And remember, the reason we do just saying is because when you're just saying, you're actually saying. And yes, 4-0 is real.
4-0. Write that down. Again, I don't know who decides what day is what day. Today is National Quesadilla Day. Dia de la Quesadilla.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Who says no to a quesadilla? A quesadilla, I think, is one of the most universally, I'll have one of those in the history of food. I love quesadilla. Have you ever met anyone who doesn't like a quesadilla?
Who doesn't love a dia? No way. No, quesadilla. And I don't even go out of my way to necessarily eat cheese, but there's never been a time when I've been offered a quesadilla that someone's got, or it's on a platter or whatever. Yes, it's beautifully delivered as well.
It is also National One-Hit Wonder Day. Sam, do you have a favorite one-hit wonder?
Yeah, I would say Crisscross Jump really might be that for me. I mean, Vanilla Ice is Ice Ice Baby is another one that really sticks for me, and I don't know, but I think Crisscross Jump I play unironically. Crisscross Jump I play unironically and rock out to it. So I'm going to say Crisscross Jump.
First time I played it for Jack, he's like, "These are kids rapping." He thought it was so cool. He was like, "Yeah," and I didn't even bother showing him. And they used to wear their clothes backwards. I want to have a daily battle of Jack putting on his clothes backwards.
No, that can happen organically. Well, yeah, we don't need that. What about you? What do you got?
The New Radicals, that you only get what you give.
Love.
That's a great song.
What a song.
That song makes you reach for the volume and turn it up a little, especially the beginning of it. It's really good beginning of that song. The most famous, probably the man who wears the crown of one-hit wonders is Norman Greenbaum, Spirit in the Sky. Going on to, it's not even, here's the thing. It's one of those songs that the beginning of it is awesome, and then like 30 seconds into it, you're like, what else is on?
Of course.
I was talking about this with JT the Brick just yesterday. Yeah. I talked to JT yesterday.
Oh, awesome. Love that.
I know Raider Nation is in DEFCON 1. But I was talking to JT yesterday. Oh, by the way, we got Damon. Rico Suave.
Yeah, Rico Suave.
Rico, yeah. Here he's got burnt. Soft Cell, Tainted Love.
Oh man,
that's a good one too.
Yeah, that one holds true too.
Yeah, Dark Commissar, or After the Fire, Dark Commissar. No song in the history of music starts better and then just goes absolutely nowhere faster than Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog.
That was my first on-stage singing performance in junior high. Was Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog? Yes, you're absolutely right.
I mean, that song comes out. It's like, Jeremiah was a bullfrog, and you're like, "Fuck yeah, was a good friend of mine." And then it just crashes. There's nothing after that matters at all. It is Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog. You're declaring it like your fucking independence, and then just boop, nothing.
That's hilarious.
Nothing.
That is hilarious. That is a great take.
Take On Me.
Oh man. And because of the video, also because of the video being, it was that sort of like cartoon book video. It's legendary. Yeah, absolutely.
Thomas Dolby, She Blinded Me with Science. Man. That's one of them too. Oh, dude, here's another one. Corporal Tez. I just heard this the other day too, and I was like, turn up the radio, 'cause I got a feeling and you gotta know. That's great. What else did Autograph do? I have no idea.
Doesn't matter. Let me remind everybody what one hit wonder means. Okay, so for those of you that claim, even CJ Stroud,
millionaire. That's what that
means. If CJ Stroud's a one hit wonder, right? If Cam Newton was a one hit wonder for the year, he won MVP and led his team to the Super Bowl. One hit wonder. I just want to remind everyone. Tell me your hit, and then let's have that conversation. Right. Tell me your hit in the world. Tell me the one thing you did that everyone in the world recognizes with 2 words, and then we can talk.
Okay, so this is Barry Ford again, little in the ganja jar, saying, flock of seagulls, yes. I ran. I've told this on the air. I'm going to say it one more time, and this is how we're going to end today's show. I was working in Fort Wayne, Indiana in the middle of a summer, and I worked at this place called Pierre's. And it was a huge, like a 50, 60,000 square foot bar with a big band. And then the bar had like a karaoke bar over here, a rap bar, an arcade over here. But the main room was designed for all of your second tier acts, your fabulous Thunderbirds and your, Christopher Cross to come through. Joan Jett, who, by the way, I saw appear. Joan Jett ripped. She was awesome. Flock of Seagulls shows up to play, and they come out on stage. I mean, there's 300 people in the room. It's not a big crowd, and it's Flock of Seagulls, and they open with I Ran. And the place loved it. That's the only song It's what you're here to hear. They finished it, and they said, thank you very, very much. And we'll tell you what, if you stay here and listen to the rest of the show, we'll play it as an encore too. We'll play it for you again. That's how much they know that they're living off that one song. We'll play it for you twice.
Great. If I could only.
Second time around, it was awesome. They were great.
If I could only do something in my life that everybody recognizes, good for me.
Seriously. So there you go. That's go. So, Baha Men Who Let the Dog Out.
Oh, great one. And again, from a sports standpoint. From a sports standpoint, though, I mean, it really.
I hated that song so much. So much. God, I hated it. That is it. That is all we have for you today. Call us a one-hit wonder.
That's all right.
That's fine. Just be here for our next release next Thursday.
Yes.
Maybe we can actually put 2 songs together, 2 weeks together.
We're doing it.
Thank you for being here with us today. Again, thanks to Sleeper. Thanks to Ike's. Thanks to the Dubliner and West Portal. Thanks to all of you. Please hit like and subscribe on your way out one last time if you haven't. And all we can do is say thank you so much for being here. And we got to go. Sports don't build any characters. Hold on, wait. I'm looking. Where's the thing that I need to end the damn show with? Where's the button? There it is. Sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, they're gone.